Hello and welcome back to another high altitude investing live stream. Today is the 17th of December and it's going to be a good stream. Just figured I'd hop on today and do a live stream. Was going to do a video originally, but it sounded funner to do a live stream. So here we are. Let's get this link shared on my Discord as well as on X and we'll get started with today's stream. Hope you guys are having a good week. And yeah, should be a good day. Good live stream, good exciting times in crypto. All the above, all that good stuff. What is up? Thank you for tuning in. Let's see here. How come? Oh, there we go. Prende Joven says, hi, what is up, Prende? Thank you for tuning in to today's live stream. Arnold says, what's up, Dallin? What is up, Arnold? Thank you for tuning in. Operation Shutdown, what is up, my brother? Thank you for taking some time to tune into today's live stream. So today we're talking about how bullish crypto is. Contrary to what you probably see online, crypto is super bullish. And we're going to start off with Bitcoin as we always do. So just taking a look at Bitcoin here. Bitcoin did a pretty classic kind of move here. If you haven't seen a correction like this before, it's the same type of correction that we saw in 2024 and in 2025. Pretty much the same thing happening in this market. If you look right here, we had a big shakeout here in 2024, another big shakeout here in 2025, and of course, this shakeout right here that we just recently saw here in 2025. So this is a pretty typical kind of move on Bitcoin, and we'll talk about what type of things you can expect in this type of a correction, what to look for, what's important, and yeah, it should be really good. But let me get some water first because my voice is... There we go. So let's hop over to the total crypto market cap first, and we'll talk a little bit about what's going on here. So my VIPs got this chart first, but I figured it was pretty important, so I decided to share it in today's live stream. This is the total crypto market cap here. And what you can see here is this major trend line here on the total crypto market cap that we have tested previously. This was the same trend line that was our bottom here before we went all the way up to 3.72 trillion. So this is a pretty important level here. And the same bottom right here before we went up to 4.2 trillion in total market cap. So this is a pretty key level to be paying attention to. This is what we just barely tested again. Like we're on it right now, this major trend line. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense to be taking sell orders down here. I know a lot of people want to get on the whole boat of shorting the market. There's a lot of people shorting crypto right now. It's popular, it's cool. People are, again, trying to call a top on the whole market. So because of this whole attitude that people have, it's cool to be a short seller. It's cool to be bearish. It's cool to take short positions. It's cool to think crypto is going to go down. But it doesn't really make sense from a technical perspective, at least at this point in time, to short when we're on a major trend line with the total crypto market cap. And by the way, looking at the total crypto market cap and looking at Bitcoin are both equally as important. So Bitcoin is kind of like the mothership. But if you want to look at the total crypto market cap, that gives you an idea of what the entirety of crypto is going to do. So if you're doing technical analysis on these markets, it's really important to be aware of what the total crypto market cap is doing as well as what Bitcoin is doing, because that's going to give a huge indication as to what the rest of the market is going to do. Obviously, now that crypto is a little bit bigger and more mature, we do have some coins pumping when other stuff doesn't. But for the most part, it still follows itself very heavily. So overall, we still have a very strong correlation between different coins in this market. So looking at Bitcoin and the total market cap is extremely valuable. And this major trend line is definitely something to be aware of, definitely something to be watching here. There's no reason to sell on support. We're on support right now with Bitcoin and with the total crypto market cap, and it doesn't make any sense to sell right here. You know, if anything, we're extremely oversold in the market. And if we pull up the indicators too, like the RSI, you can see we're still pretty dang oversold on the RSI here. We have a lot of institutional volume coming in. You can see this red here on our net positions indicator. This shows that we have institutional money coming into the crypto markets as we speak. And so, yeah, overall, we're super oversold and really good place to be taking long positions due to the risk to reward ratio. If you're taking long positions on top cryptos right now, you have a really good risk to reward. You have a tight stop loss. It's a good place to be taking longs and looking at taking longs in crypto. Rico Hawk says, good day, Dallin. Well, good day to you too, my friend. Thank you for taking some time to tune into this live stream on this beautiful Wednesday morning. Future Dreams 2K says, hello, bro. Much love from India. Bitcoin acting like pump and dump, and how you are so cool and view it will skyrocket soon the rest of 2026. Well, thank you for that kind words, and I appreciate you tuning in from India. And yes, Bitcoin is extremely volatile on the shorter time frames. Extremely volatile. Pump, dump, crazy choppy action. Craziness, right? It's really because there's a lot of indecision in the market. So there's a lot of people that think it's going to go down, and then there's some people that think it's going to go up, and there's this kind of battle of uncertainty. So that's what creates so much choppiness in these smaller time frames, which we do see a lot of choppiness on Bitcoin. But overall, Bitcoin has been a pretty choppy market in bottoms historically. If we go over to Bitcoin and we pull up the COVID drop right here, and we zoom into the COVID drop on Bitcoin, you can see that we had the same thing happening here. Look how choppy it was all through this whole area. Bitcoin was so choppy during COVID when COVID first hit right here. Just chop. This was the bottom of the market. This ended up being the bottom of the correction. And this ended up putting a huge bullish move in the future. Came very shortly after this. We put in a huge bullish move with crypto. So Bitcoin does have a tendency to be extremely choppy and very volatile during corrections and during the bottom of the market. And it makes sense if a lot of people are fighting as to what's going to happen. There's going to be a lot of choppiness in the market, a lot of stop losses getting chopped out in both directions. It's just going to happen, which is, by the way, why I tell you guys, if you're going to trade these markets, unless you're just investing, which is the most effective, safest, easiest trading strategy you can ever have, to just accumulate and invest, right? Pick a good coin with good fundamentals that you really believe in, or multiple of them, and just dollar cost average, take a portion of your income and just invest, right? That's the safest, simplest, most powerful, easiest trading strategy. If you believe crypto has long-term value, which I do, I fully believe in crypto, then that's the safest thing to do, right? The easiest strategy. But if you're swing trading this stuff, you guys, especially on any type of leveraged exchange, set break-even stop losses. Get in a winning trade and set a break-even stop, because you don't risk anything. And abide by that rule like it's your life depends on it. Because otherwise you're just going to get chopped out over and over and over, and you're just going to keep taking a stop loss. But get in a winning trade and set a break-even stop loss, and then boom, you have no risk and all profit potential without any risk. That's really what you should be doing if you're swing trading these markets at all. But if you're just investing, the strategy is extremely simple, and you could teach it to like a kid, you know. Even swing trading isn't crazy hard to learn. It's just a little bit higher skill level. Jay Sadu says Bitcoin's cooked. Oh, man. I love it when people say something is cooked. Oh. The market is hurting today, but I remain bullish. Yeah, that's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do to keep your conviction. People, they lose their conviction when the market pulls back. The funniest thing you'll ever see, and this happens all the time, people are like, hey, I wish this market would pull back 30% so I could buy the dip because I just know it's going to moon. And then the market pulls back 30% and nobody wants to buy the dip and they all flip bearish. So you got to stick to your original convictions as to why you believe something is going to happen. And don't let the market volatility shake you out of your perspective on the market. And your perspective on this market really should come from the fact that crypto has long-term value and that it's not going anywhere anytime soon. Hey from Colorado. Well, welcome from Colorado, John. And I love Colorado. I've been there a lot. It's really close. I live 30 minutes from the Colorado border, actually. And I love Colorado. It's one of my favorite places to go. There's lots of good mushroom foraging out there, and I'm really big into finding king boletes and different edible mushrooms to cook with. And yeah, it's pretty cool to do that, and Colorado is a good place to do it. Hello, Dallin. What is your take on the allegations against Theta Labs? Anything to worry about? To me, that is just total stupid FUD. It's totally just allegations. They have nothing to prove. There's no evidence. It's just total FUD. I've seen a lot worse projects that have way worse fundamentals beat like the SEC in crazy cases that you wouldn't expect to beat. I have full confidence that the Theta team is going to have no problem. And technically, the lawsuit isn't even against Theta Labs, the company, but it's against Mitch, according to my understanding. So it's not really a big deal. It's just fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Usually at the bottom of a market, you're going to have some type of news article, something released that's extremely fear-driven, creates a lot of skepticism. People believe it because it's the news, right? It's got to be, there's something to it, right? But no, I wouldn't give any thought to it personally. Speaking of which, I'm not wearing one right now, but I still have these really cool Theta t-shirts, you guys. So if you guys want a Theta t-shirt or a Theta hat, then check in the link in the description box below. I was given, this really cool guy reached out to me and he's like, hey, I purchased a bunch of these Theta merch. And he's like, I don't want them anymore. So if you just want these, I'll send them to you. And so I'm basically just hooking all my viewers up with Theta merch. So check in the description box below. If you're in the United States, I can ship it to you. The shipping cost is free. If you're somewhere else, you'll have to email me and pay for international shipping. It'll be a little bit of a process. Okay, cool. So let's talk about Bitcoin. Let's finish talking about Bitcoin here. A lot of I know a lot of choppiness right now on Bitcoin, especially since this point right here. Man, has it been choppy. I mean, look at this. Well, even this was pretty choppy too, but look how choppy this is. Crazy. Super chop. This is just screwing all of the people that are getting too excited on smaller time frames. They see the market go up and they get super excited. They all FOMO into a long position, and then it just wrecks them all. What this is liquidation cascades in both directions. People are probably trying to swing trade the markets more than they were before because they're wondering, how am I going to make money in this market if it's not just going up like it was before? Which it will. I firmly believe Bitcoin will go up like it was before. But a lot of people are looking to just swing trade the market right now. And they're getting chopped up like crazy in this area. So you really have to know what you're doing. In my VIP area, I posted a swing trade signal for Bitcoin right here, going long on Bitcoin. It went up to the target up here. I have a break-even stop loss, so I'm technically still in this position because I always let my winners ride. If I have no risk, once I'm in a break-even stop loss, I'm going to let my winner ride. If I have no risk at all, I'm going to let the market potentially go a lot higher. Because if I'm right, then you make a bunch of money, and if you're wrong, you don't have anything to lose. So, but yeah, a lot of people are definitely getting chopped up right here. But really, what this looks like to me Now that we're on that major trend line with the total crypto market cap, and we're literally testing that trend line currently, this to me looks like the beginning of a potential massive double bottom on Bitcoin, with our first low right here and our second low right here. This could easily turn into a big double bottom structure and turn around down here. And again, stop loss is pretty tight. You can take a stop loss right here and take a trade right here and set a stop loss at like 85,000 or 83,000. Or if you're really low leverage, or if you're not even using leverage, let's just say you're spot swing trading, then you could have an even wider one down to 80K. So you've got a really pretty good risk to reward ratio to be going long down here because of all these support levels really close. And also, you guys, I don't know if you've ever heard of the liquidation heat map before. This is pretty cool. Liquidation heat map. Matt Osty says, surprise live stream. Heck yeah. Smash the likes, fam. Well, thank you, Matt. So if you guys have never heard of the liquidation heat map before on coinglass.com, this is super cool. Let's pull up the 1 month time frame on this. This will show you where all of the biggest liquidations would happen are. So if let's go actually a little bit bigger. Let's go like 6 month here. And this tells us that pretty much everybody is short. If you look right here, we have $498 million in short sells that would be liquidated if Bitcoin goes back up to 106,000. So you're talking about $500 million just on Binance alone that would be instantly liquidated if Bitcoin goes up to 106,000 per coin. So this tells you that most people are short right now, and the market is almost always going to liquidate those people. It's almost always going to jump back up to a level that nobody thinks is going to test because they're all super bearish right now. So the fact that we have $500 million on Binance alone being ready to be liquidated at 106,000 per coin tells me it's extremely likely that Bitcoin goes up to 106,000 per coin. So you can use these areas like a magnet. You can think of it like a magnet. If there's a big area of liquidity that needs to be liquidated, then the market is likely going to magnet up to that level in a way. So that's super, super promising for the bulls. If we go up to the 1 year time frame and we increase our threshold a little bit here, where is it? Let's change our liquidity threshold so we can see even on the 1 year time frame here with the liquidation heat map, all of the liquidations are up here. There's almost nobody's really long in terms of retail, right? Because this is going to show you what retail is doing. So this tells you that most people are short. Most people do not expect Bitcoin to turn around here. Most people think that Bitcoin is going to go lower. And a lot of people are going to get liquidated. If this bottoms out in any way whatsoever here, if this does turn into a double bottom pattern for Bitcoin, all of these people are going to get liquidated. So that tells you a lot about what people are doing. We're starting to tank again. You know, what time frame are you looking at, man? Like, how zoomed in are you? Let me switch charts because I'm using a stop loss on that one. Like, are you looking at the 1 minute time frame right now, dude? You guys got to zoom out. You can't be tweaking on the 1 minute time frame, you guys. Let's go down to, let's see here. Where's the... this one should work fine. Yeah, there we go. Like on the daily, yeah, we pulled back a little bit, but I wouldn't call this tanking. This is tanking right here. This is a market tanking, you know. So this is, to me, this is a double bottom pattern. This could easily be a double bottom here on Bitcoin. Nope, that wouldn't surprise me at all to see a double bottom form on Bitcoin here. Just like what happened right here. If you look at the bottom that happened in 2024 right here, if you look at that, you can see the market came all the way back down right here, just like this. You can see that double bottom was put in place. A lot of people would have been pretty bearish right here. In fact, I know they were, because I was trading Bitcoin during this period and I was watching people, and everybody thought we were going to go for another low. Everybody, the common consensus was that Bitcoin was going to hit 30K at this level. Now, I wasn't thinking that because I was looking at a very specific setup on Bitcoin that I had a high degree of confidence in. First of all, there was a massive bull flag forming in the market right here. You can see we had a big bull flag right here on Bitcoin. So that had me very bullish. Second of all, we had a big cup and handle. Third of all, it looked exactly like gold when gold had a cup and handle. Fourth of all, everybody and their mom was calling for 30K. It's not going to happen if everybody thinks it's going to happen, you know. So yeah, Bitcoin bottomed out right there and went all the way up to 126,000. And it was awesome and very profitable and very exciting. But kind of what cued me into that trade was trading patterns, trading against what most people are doing. And yeah, a double bottom pattern, as you can see. So look at this. We have a potential double bottom forming on Bitcoin as we speak. This is a potential double bottom for Bitcoin. You guys, I've said it before, but I'm going to say it again. This market is designed to screw people over. It's not set up to just it's not going to do what people think. It's designed to screw people over. And if you let's pull up the S&P here. Let me get these charts lined up. Okay. On the daily candlesticks, we'll zoom out a little bit here. Take a look at this, okay? It can look like it's totally just going to fall off a cliff, you know? It can give the appearance of just the most bearish chart ever and then just totally bottom and turn around. And if you look at Bitcoin right now, Bitcoin, the crash on Bitcoin that we currently see, what time frame was I using? Give me just a second, you guys. I got to find my... Oh, I know what's going on. There we go. This is the crash I was looking at. If anything, Bitcoin is acting a lot like the S&P 500 did in one of its previous corrections here. If you look at the S&P 500 over here on the right and you look at Bitcoin over here on the left, you can see that this crash right here, very sharp decline, right? Now, if you zoom in, there's actually a double bottom right here. A double bottom formed to put these lows in on the S&P 500. And if you look at Bitcoin currently, this is really a similar structure on Bitcoin. So when these big crashes happen in the market, a recovery is likely, whether it's a relief rally or a full-blown bull market, which I'm leaning. I personally see this market as going into a full-blown bull market again. The worst thing that you can do is be a bear down here. You know, the people that were smart were bearish up here. Not everybody called this drop, of course. But the people that were smart were bearish up here. The worst thing you can do is start flipping to a bear at the bottom of a massive correction when everybody's bearish. That is the worst thing you can do. And since I've been like really active and posting on this channel again for the past couple of years, because I really started to get active again down here in like 2023, posting on this channel. Because I made a video about Bitcoin at the bottom here, telling people it was the bottom on Bitcoin, but I took like a little break for a few months right here. And I started to get back into posting, so I've been consistently posting for like basically since 2023 on this channel. And every single time I do one of these live streams and people are either bearish in my live stream or in my comment section, and they say sometimes kind of like harsh things towards me because of my view on being bullish in the market, It's always a bottom. And the same thing happened right here, same thing happened right here, and the same thing is happening in an even bigger way currently. And the reason for it is because of the fact that people are following the majority. They're going to follow the crowd. That's what people do. They follow the herd. So it's no surprise to me that there's a lot of bearish sentiment on crypto and on Bitcoin right now. There's a lot of bearish sentiment. I don't see a reason to be bearish, you guys. I can't bring myself to flip bearish after a big correction like this. That would be ridiculous. That would go against everything that I've ever learned about trading. There's no reason to flip bearish after a massive drop. That would be like flipping bearish right here or flipping bearish right here. It just doesn't make sense. It's not mathematically sound to do that. Hey bro, please make another Dogecoin video. I've been seeing your comments, man. I do want to make another Dogecoin video soon. So I will get around to it at some point. I will do that for you. Rapids C8, Dallin, can you take a look at Adam? I got liquidated long and want to jump back in. Sure. You guys kind of get the view on the crypto markets as a whole with Bitcoin and the total market cap. Worst time to flip bearish, best time to be a bull at the bottom of these big drops like this. So let's pull up Adam now. Zoom in a little bit here. So if you're trading this on leverage, the thing with trading on leverage like this, it's pretty with these altcoins. Usually, what I try to be really careful trading leverage on altcoins, unless you're talking about like Ethereum or like Pepe. Pepe has a bigger even though it's like a meme coin, it actually has a pretty big market cap and it trades kind of like how Ethereum does in a lot of ways. But like trading Ethereum, trading Bitcoin, those are a lot easier to swing trade. Now here with Cosmos, I do think it's going to bottom soon. It could bottom in the next 24 hours, you know. But if you're trading leverage on this, the smartest thing to do would just be to use extremely low leverage and a dollar cost average into a position, because this isn't really providing a lot of just straight up like swing trade setups like Bitcoin or Ethereum would be. If you want to get a big picture leverage long on this, use extremely low leverage and dollar cost average into a position and fund your account with money that you can afford to lose. Like let's say you've got an extra $1,000, okay? Most of your money should be in Cosmos on spot without any leverage at all, so you can let the market do what it wants to do. But if you are going to take a leverage trade, take some money you can afford to lose, dollar cost average in with extremely low leverage over time, and get yourself a big picture leverage long at a really low price. That's the best thing to do, because if otherwise you're risking getting liquidated, and it's just dangerous if you're using a large amount of capital to do that. So that's the smartest thing to do, because a lot of times, I mean, even though this could bottom in the next 24 hours, it could bottom during this live stream. We could see a huge bullish engulfing candle come in. You know, that's totally possible. When stuff looks like it's going to die, you usually see a big buying pressure come back into the market, right? But just in terms of being able to just take like a position with a stop loss, it'd be pretty tricky on Atom. Now, if you're swing trading like Ethereum, if you're swing trading Bitcoin, those are providing a lot more of setups that have where you can put a stop loss in and you can kind of position yourself in a way that makes sense, right? Without dollar cost averaging. There's swing trade setups on those currently. Let's zoom in a little bit here to the 45-minute and take a look at what's happening here. Look at all this chop, man. This is crazy. Chop, 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 chop. Just looking like it's going to do one thing and it just chops in the other direction over and over. Yeah, so for this, what I'd be looking for especially if I was to try to go long on this, I'd be looking for a breakout above this descending resistance level here on the 45 minute. I'd be looking for that. Now, in the big picture, as far as Atom in the big picture goes, this is in the depression phase of the cycle. Like, it can't go down much further. You know, this is the point where the maximum financial opportunity with the minimum risk, right? That's where we're at right now on Atom. So if you take a look at this, let's pull up like a time cycle here. Where is it? Here we go, time cycles. If we're looking at this market in terms of a time cycle, this is probably, right here, this is probably our bear market bottom currently. Like, we're at that point where we're going to flip into a bullish time cycle here for Cosmos. So definitely be paying attention to some type of a reversal in the big picture really soon. This absolutely is the depression phase of the cycle. This was euphoria up here. This would have been anger right here. And then we went for this another low, which is the depression phase of the cycle. If you look at the market cycle chart, you guys know the drill. I use this all the time because of how powerful it is. Let's pull this up and put it on our chart here. Oops. Stretch this son of a gun out. Oh, this is blurry as it gets. Let's pull up one that isn't so blurry. There we go. So this right here is euphoria. Right here. Let me use a different color of pencil so you guys can see better. There you go. So this is euphoria. That coincides with this right here. Then you have anger. That's where the market looks like it could bottom, but people are pretty mad because of how down they are on their investments. And then you go into depression, which is exactly where Cosmos is at currently. So as far as a big picture view on Cosmos, that's what I'd be looking at. Due to manipulation, the BRICS new BTC and crypto new market without the US manipulation coming soon. You know, I don't know too much about that, but I will say that manipulation is heavily over-exaggerated. Manipulation is generally an excuse for people that don't know how to trade these markets to blame the fact that they lost money on something other than themselves. Because fact of the matter is, if you're using the correct type of trading strategy, if you're accumulating in the big picture, or if you're using stop losses, really you're the person that should take the blame for whether you have a losing or a winning trade. Blaming it on manipulation is just, I know that's an unpopular opinion. Everybody thinks the market's manipulated. Everybody thinks the government is a massive conspiracy. Everybody wants to just be cynical about everything in life. But fact of the matter is, yes, manipulation happens in every market, but it's your fault if you have a losing trade, because it's not going to be helpful for your progression as an analyst or as a trader to blame market manipulation on your own stupid mistakes and inability to play the market correctly. At the end of the day, you got to take responsibility for a winning or a losing trade. Can you look at Vayat? Let's see here. Sure. We can do analysis on this. Oh, man. Now I see why this is stuff like this is why people are so bearish right now, you guys. You know, like this just, when people see this, they just think this is never going to recover. That's what people think, right? Because it's hard to be faithful on a market that's just going down and feels like it's going to go down forever and everybody else is all bearish, right? But technically, this is an ABC correction, by the way. If we pull up our ABC correction, this is a big ABC correction. That's what it is. We have volume coming in down here. We just made another low from our local low right here at 0.02, or 0.018. We made a lower low right here. So if there's ever a point not to sell and to buy instead, it's during times like this. This is not where you freak out and panic sell, especially when you see something like this, you know? That's all of the retail investors panic selling and all of the big institutions and all of the people that are either inside traders, all of the people that are working on this project, all of the big, like I said, institutional money, venture capital money, just angel, any type of investor that has a lot of capital. These guys are the ones that are buying when everybody's fearful, like right now. And they're picking coins up like this at these dirt cheap prices. That's why these big volume spikes come in, because the public, the retail, the average investor sells, and that gives liquidity to the people that have billions of dollars or millions of dollars, probably in this case, to just pile tons of capital into the market. So this would be the worst place to sell this coin. Do you think XRP will fall below $1? No, I do not think XRP will fall below $1. And let me tell you why. Let's pull up XRP on the Coinbase chart here. There's really only two alternatives for XRP that I can see right in the chart in terms of Elliott waves. So our primary count for XRP is that this is a running flat right here. Running flat correction. So this would lead to continuation. Let's pull up a running flat Elliott wave pattern here. Let's see here. Here we go. So this is a running flat Elliott wave structure that we see for XRP right here. So this is basically a continuation pattern. Do I think XRP will fall below $1? No, I really don't. This looks like a continuation pattern. We have our wave A right here, our B wave, our C wave. That coincides with a running flat pattern. So this should bottom out. I know it looks like it might not because of, just the short term. Looks like it could fall off a cliff right here. But we're on support, you guys. We're on support. This could easily have a strong reaction off this support level. And if it does, this is going to turn into a big running flat correction. Confirmed, right? It already has a structure of a running flat that would confirm a running flat correction. And could be the beginning of a bottom pattern here for XRP. The beginning of a continuation pattern here in the big picture. And I know everybody's drawing a double top right here. Everybody's drawing a big double top and saying, look, XRP did a double top. It's got to go all the way back down to 47 cents. In fact, when I woke up this morning, the first thing that I saw on my X account was somebody calling for this level right here. They were like, this is a double top. We're clearly going to go down all the way to 49 cents. So that's kind of the common consensus, right? Most people are calling for a double top here on XRP. But really, the only two things I could see it doing would be an expanded flat or a running flat. It already has a structure for a running flat. The only other pattern it could really do would be that I see as being likely to happen, at least, would be an expanded flat. And this is my secondary count. My primary is the running flat that we already put in our bottom here. But my secondary count would be an expanded flat. And the reason I view it like this is because everybody's calling for a double top. So the market isn't just going to go all the way down to 47 cents. It's extremely unlikely for that to happen. Everybody's calling for a double top on XRP, okay? So it's either going to bottom where we're at right now or drop slightly below support so everybody goes short because they think it's going to go to zero or think it's going to go really low. And then it's going to do an expanded flat correction and bottom out right here. That's literally what it's set up to do. And if it does an expanded flat, then we've seen this so many times in so many markets before. This is what Bitcoin did during the FTX drop, was an expanded flat correction. But also the S&P 500 did the same thing right here. If you look at the S&P 500, it did an expanded flat correction. No, it didn't retrace all the way back down to support. It failed support, so everybody went super bearish. Nobody thought the market was going to recover. And then it went to the moon. Let's do 15-day. There we go. See, check this out. We have this huge expanded flat correction on the S&P 500. So the only two options I can realistically see for XRP is that we bottom out right now because everybody thinks it's going to go to zero, or we go for one more low. Everybody shorts because they think it's going to seriously go down to 40 cents because of a double top, when really it's painting a bigger picture, expanded flat correction, and we bottom out and turn around either way. So it's either we're bottoming out now or we go a little bit lower, but I don't see us going below $1 per XRP. That seems pretty unlikely to me for that to happen. So that's my view on XRP, you guys. So if you're investing in this, the smartest thing that you could be doing is just dollar cost averaging, you know? Because let's say the bottom is in right now, you could buy more and you've got a good entry. If it goes lower, you can buy more and you get an even better entry. So the smartest thing that you could do is just dollar cost average. But it's not likely that it's going to do what everybody thinks it's going to do, which everybody thinks it's a double top pattern. I'm not seeing very many people post bullish stuff about XRP right now. No alt season 2021 and 2025. You know, we still haven't had a big alt season yet for this cycle. We had a little bit of one, but that doesn't mean we can't have one by any means. It doesn't mean. The thing with these cycles is they're going to surprise you. If I've learned anything about these cycles and anything about crypto, it's that it's going to surprise you. Engine coin, please. You know, I haven't heard anybody request engine coin for like a long time. I wonder how it's doing. Holy cow. Talk about a correction. See, this is what I mean, you guys. These coins are not in a bubble right now. They were in a bubble in 2021. These coins are extremely undervalued. This isn't euphoria on altcoins. You know what euphoria looks like? It looks like this. That's what euphoria looks like. Everything should be pumping massive green candles, huge, crazy euphoria. Everybody, you know, that's what euphoria looks like. This is what depression looks like of a market cycle. This is the polar opposite of a market top with altcoins. It blows my mind that people are so bearish right now on the altcoin markets. This is a really good opportunity to pick up Engine down here at 0.027, dirt cheap. Okay, 2021 was a crypto bubble and pop, just like the internet bubble and pop. I usually don't like to use the word bubble, but we're going to roll with it anyways, because to me they're just market cycles. But it was a bubble, right, in 2021 and in 2017 as well. But they popped. This is not a market top. This is what a market top looks like. So this is like after the internet bubble popped, you guys. People were able to buy stuff like Amazon, all these different companies, Apple. They were able to buy these companies at dirt cheap prices. And then what happened to the internet? The internet became something everybody uses, a household name. That's what happened to the internet. And the idea that crypto is just going to just stop growing or stop becoming a big thing is ludicrous. It's ridiculous. Crypto is here to stay. What we're witnessing right now in this market is the same type of psychology that happened after the internet bubble popped. Everybody sold, everybody gave up on it, but the big institutions, the smart money, the big investors, they set themselves up perfectly. They bought the dip on stuff like Amazon, they bought Apple, they bought Microsoft, they bought all of this stuff dirt cheap. And then the internet and computers became something everybody uses. Crypto is doing the same thing right now. 2021 was the internet bubble edition of crypto bubble. It was the same thing. Exactly the same thing. So there right now what we're seeing in the crypto markets is not a risk investment. I mean every investment is a risk investment, right? But we're not seeing something that you should be afraid of buying. What we're seeing in the crypto markets right now is like if you have the opportunity to buy a bunch of really, really good internet stocks or tech stocks at the bottom of the internet bubble after it popped. That's what we're looking at. And it's 100% true with Engine Coin here. Let's pull up this chart. If you look at Engine Coin, where do you think it's at in its cycle? You know what? If you're new to trading and investing and the only thing you were ever shown is to use a big picture time frame and the Wall Street cheat sheet, and you had brand new eyes, you weren't seeing this market from your biases, from your personal beliefs, from your fears, you were just looking at it from a completely level-headed perspective. If that's you, where do you think Engine Coin is at in its cycle? You know, what level is it at? It's definitely not in euphoria. That happened in 2021. Where is it at in its cycle? Because it's definitely not euphoria. It's not complacency. It's not anxiety. It's not denial. It's not panic. That all happened right here. We're in depression. This is anger right here. And we're in depression on Engine Coin right now. That's the depression phase of the cycle. This is literally the point of maximum financial opportunity and a minimum risk. You're buying right here is literally the safest and the most profitable at the same time. So anyways, you guys get the idea. Popcat, I haven't looked at Popcat in a minute either. Let's pull up Popcat. Let's see. Let's go to Deck Screener because it has all of the data for it. If I was to get conspiratorial, which I'm really not a conspiracy theorist in any way. Like, I know there's real conspiracies out there and stuff, but most of that stuff is just, oh man, people just go too crazy with it, right? But if I was to be a conspiracy theorist, if I was to get a little bit conspiratorial, I would say, you know what happened to this market? They made it look like every single big account and big institution, like everybody's getting out of the market right at the point where the biggest opportunity is there, because they're already positioned. They're already ready for this thing to go crazy. If I was to take a conspiratorial view on the market, I would say all of this FUD about big investors selling their Bitcoin, about all of the big, all the stuff that we heard about big institutions selling, that was literally designed to get the retail out of this market before mass adoption takes place. That's what I would say. It's so clear to me. Because there is such thing as FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, news articles that are designed to get the public to sell. That's a real thing. Of course, that's a real thing. So if anything, that's what's happening to this market right now. Now let's take a look at Popcat here. So Popcat did a 5-wave structure here. Pull up our Elliott wave impulse tool. Wave 1, 2, 3. Let's see. We got to go to the bottom wave here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we did a classic ABC correction here. And this is the depression phase of the cycle. So let's pull up our market cycle chart again. I think I can pop it on top of even on deck screener. Maybe not. Guess it won't let me import an image. Well, this is the anger phase right here. This is the euphoria phase. And this is the depression phase for PopCat. So that final low that people panic sell, where most all of these altcoins are in right now. We're in depression on all of these altcoins. Almost all of them. That is right here. So here is, let's go like this. Here's anger right here. Then you can see the market makes one more low. That's depression. The depression phase of the cycle. This is so common. It's not PopCat. PopCat isn't the only one that does this. I mean, check out, you know, the NASDAQ, for example. Let's go over here. See? NASDAQ composite. Here's PopCat right here. Here's anger on PopCat. Here's depression. And here is the NASDAQ. Here is anger and depression on the NASDAQ. So that final drop you can see, this squeezes everybody out of the market. That's the depression phase of the cycle. And you can see it right here on the NASDAQ. So yeah. H bar, please. Let's pull up H bar. You guys are all saying, not all of you, but I will say that there is a general consensus in my comment section, and as well as on this live stream as well, of people that are bearish. You know, people saying stuff is dead. People saying it's not going to go up. Last time that happened was, well, the last two times that happened was the absolute bottom of the cycle. So zoom in here a little bit. So this is, let's pull up H bar where we have the full data, because this isn't the full picture. I think it's on Binance where we get a bigger picture view of it. Okay, cool. You guys, you know what's happening to H bar right now? You want to know? Let's pull up Amazon. Let's see here, where's Amazon? This is just as true as it was the first time I showed you guys. Let's go to the H bar right now is doing the exact same thing that Amazon did. Okay. Here's the internet bubble on Amazon. Right here. Okay. Here's our crypto bubble in 2021 for H bar that happened on a bunch of altcoins. Now, if you look at this, look what happened to Amazon before it mooned. It had to shake everybody out of the market. Look at what's happening on H bar right now. It has to shake everybody out of the market. It's doing the same thing that Amazon did during that period of its cycle. So this right here is 2008, by the way, on Amazon. This crash right here that's so brutal and so big. This recent drop that we have, basically, in terms of the crypto cycle, this is like a repeat of 2008 in a lot of ways, in terms of the crypto cycle. Selling at the bottom of 2008, worst choice you could possibly make. I know people, well, not personally. Well, I actually do know a guy personally, but I know quite a few people, either directly or indirectly, that panic sold their stocks in 2008. And this same person, the specific one I'm thinking of, would have been a multimillionaire if they didn't panic sell their stocks in 2008. But they panic sold. So what is the stupidest thing that you can do when everybody's afraid, when the market's crashing? The worst thing that you can do is follow the herd and sell. That is the worst possible thing you can do. Whether we're talking about crypto or whether we're talking about stocks. That's the worst thing you can do. So for me, H bar is still a beautiful setup, ready for a big bull market in the big picture. This is an opportunity to buy H bar before it moons. This is the final shakeout before H bar moons. That's what it is. That's where we're at in the cycle. Hey Dallin, Stark now trading below 0.09. Where can we expect the bottom? Any range you can suggest? Where I can DCA buy at 1.5. Yeah, so I would say just keep DCAing Stark. This is a total shakeout. Even if you guys, one of the best things you can do during times like this is to just straight up don't worry about the price of your investment. Like pretend that the price doesn't matter. In a correction, what most people are doing is they're looking at their portfolio balance, or they're looking at whether they're up or down on a specific trade. You know, oh, I had 80,000 and now I have 20,000 in this trade or this coin, right? One of the best things you can do is not worry about the price of that asset, because it will recover. But if you're focused on the price of it, then you're going to basically just panic sell. You're going to freak out. The pain will be too great. So, you know, something that I've done in the past, something that I've seen other people do, really smart people, during times where the market is crashing really hard, you buy more and then you don't look at your portfolio balance. You don't worry about whether you're up or down. You pretend that it's a total illusion that you're in a loss, because the loss isn't realized until you press that sell button. And fact of the matter is, this thing is super undervalued. So even if you buy something, especially with crypto, you could buy something that's like, you know, that looks like a local bottom, say like a 33 cents, then you lose another 80% of your investment and it looks like you have nothing left. And then the bull market starts and it breaks out up above that level and shoots to the moon. And actually you end up with like 30 times your profit, because you bought, you know, say you bought right here and it just goes lower. So really you just got to pretend that the price doesn't matter until it's pumping. Once it's pumping and you're in a bunch of profit, then the price matters and you should take your profits. But in corrections, the best mindset to have is to view the crash as not even real in a way, unless you're buying to buy more in. But just don't give power to the drop. Now, where Stark is going to bottom here, probably soon, you know. I think it'll bottom soon. I could see it bottoming any day now, literally any day. It could bottom really soon. Fact of the matter is, in the big picture, if we go back to the 15-day candlesticks here, this thing is so ready to go parabolic in the big picture, it's ridiculous. Like, this thing is a huge volume spike right here. This thing is so ready to go nuts, it's crazy. So it's either at the bottom right now in the short term, or it will be soon. So just remember, keep your eyes on the prize. Remember what's coming in the big picture, because this thing really is set up for a big parabolic run, just like Zcash did in the big picture. Matt says, let's see, Matt J398 says, thank you, Dallin. Well, thank you for tuning into today's live stream. I genuinely appreciate it. We hope to see altcoins come back up in the first of 2026. Yeah, I think that we will see a very strong run on altcoins in 2026. Let's pull up Digibyte, for example. I like to use this example just because it's kind of like a classic looking altcoin right now. Okay. Let's pull up Digibyte here, and let's go to the Litecoin fractal, and I'll show you what I mean. So before 2017 happened, which was technically the biggest altcoin bull market in crypto history in terms of percentage gain and just total ridiculous euphoria on altcoins, before that happened, we had these big accumulations. And let's pull this chart up here. And Litecoin is a really good example of one of these big accumulations. So here's Litecoin. This is what its accumulation looked like before 2017 happened for Litecoin. And if you look at Digibyte just as an example of a coin right now, of an altcoin, this thing looks incredibly similar to Litecoin before 2017 happened. But I mean, look, Litecoin didn't particularly look bullish right here. I mean, there was red candles coming in. It looked like it might fall off a cliff. You know, it looked like it might go lower. It didn't particularly look bullish if you don't understand accumulation cycles. But if you do understand accumulation cycles, then you know what is happening on altcoins right now is the exact same thing that happened to the altcoin market before 2017 happened. It's the same thing. So it's exciting. It's an exciting time for crypto. I know it doesn't feel like it. I know people are pretty scared right now. A lot of people are pretty fearful that we're going to drop. But you guys, fact of the matter is, if you're looking at these charts in the big picture, the best thing you could be doing is accumulating, because that's what the whales are doing. That's why these big accumulation patterns are popping up on all these charts. And the worst thing that you could possibly do is to be selling, which is what everybody else is doing. Actually, let's go back to that chart. Let's pull up. I believe somebody had me look at Atom at the beginning of this live stream. So let's pull up Atom. Okay. And compare to Litecoin over here. This is a little bit of a different setup here in terms of Litecoin went sideways, where Atom is making lower lows and lower highs right here. But this is still a big picture accumulation on Atom. And you have to understand that, especially since we're in the depression phase down here of the cycle. Let's pull up another altcoin. Let's see here. Engine coin. Let's pull up Engine coin again. Okay. Look at this. I'm telling you guys, these are big picture accumulations on these coins. That's what they are. That's why they're going down or sideways in painful, brutal, multi-year patterns, because they're being accumulated by the big whales at really dirt cheap prices. That's what's happening to this coin right now. So a lot of coins are really set up to see a big reversal and a big pump in the big picture. That's what I want you guys to be focused on. Lego King is cool, says, thanks, bro. I really hope Dogecoin takes off in Q1 or Q2 of 2026. I'm very scared and sad. You know, let's pull up the Dogecoin chart for you. Let's see if I can dispel some of your fear. Okay, let's just go to Dogecoin on Binance. Here we go. So this right here, first of all, in the big picture, you got to understand what's happening to Dogecoin. If we zoom out here in the big picture, Dogecoin is really doing the same thing that Bitcoin did way back in the day. So if we're looking at Bitcoin right here, and we're looking at Dogecoin over here, it's the same thing that Bitcoin did back in the day. So we have Dogecoin on the left and Bitcoin over here on the right. Now you can see this correction right here happened on Bitcoin, where the price of Bitcoin went from $766 down to $468. Now Dogecoin did the same thing, but you have to remember altcoins are always going to be more volatile than Bitcoin. So this is a bigger drop, but in terms of where it's at in its cycle, it's the same point in the cycle. We're shaking people out before a big reversal and a big run in this coin. We have the same ABC correction here. Just like that, right? Perfect ABC. It's really the same setup that we saw on Bitcoin before 2017 happened. So this shakeout right here, not a big surprise to me to see this kind of a shakeout here. I knew I had a pretty good idea it was going to happen because I was comparing Bitcoin and Dogecoin. In fact, I posted in my VIP. I said, hey, you guys, be aware that Dogecoin right here looks kind of like Bitcoin right here, and it could drop. Now, I was kind of looking at this support level, so I didn't expect it to go a little bit lower than that like we see here. But it's no surprise considering how volatile altcoins are. Altcoins are so much more volatile than Bitcoin is. But it's really the same point in the cycle. The other thing that you can see here with Dogecoin, let's go to the daily on Dogecoin. Okay. The Dogecoin actually did a market cycle on these smaller time frames. So let's pull up our market cycle chart here and take a look at what's happening from a cyclical perspective, right? So let's pull up our market cycle on the right. So this is what Dogecoin did. We have the disbelief phase right here. That's right here. We have our optimism, thrill, euphoria, right? That's right here, the euphoria phase. Then we have complacency right here. That's right here. Then we have anxiety, denial, panic. Then this is our anger phase right here. You can see anger. That's the anger phase of the cycle. Come back up, fall into depression. This is depression here. So this is the point of maximum financial opportunity with minimum financial risk. If you're dollar cost averaging into Dogecoin at these levels right here, it's going to be a very, very perfect entry at these levels down here to do that. Please, what do you think about USDT chart dominance and why we still go up? Okay, let's check out USDT dominance. You know, this is actually what I was looking to have happen here. I have an ABC correction drawn right here. So this is wave B on USDT dominance. And it looks like it's forming a bigger head and shoulders. So I really see a big run coming for the crypto markets, big enough that even USDT dominance should start to go down because of how big the run on altcoins and Bitcoin and stuff will be as we start to go into another big run on the crypto markets. So this, to me, this is just wave B right here. We're putting in a right shoulder here for a big head and shoulders. And I think we're going to go like this. Something like that. So a reversal could happen any day here with this coin, with the market dominance here, for the USDT. That's actually what I am expecting to have happen, is a crash here in USDT dominance. So yeah. Thank you for giving us hope. Thank you for tuning in. One day I will sure join your paid group, bro. My aim will be same. Now I am Neil, lost all my crypto, following you since 2017. Let me check if I can work with you, get paid group, and join your group. Yeah, I'd love to have you on the team, man. It'd be really cool to have you on the team. So let's talk about the total crypto market cap again. Zoom into the daily candlesticks here and take a look at what's happening. So the total crypto market cap is on a major trend line. Okay, this is a major trend line for the total crypto market cap. I really don't have any problem with the idea that this is going to see a strong reaction off of this trend line here. So even though we're dropping onto the trend line right now and it feels like everything's just going to fall off a cliff, don't lose sight of this. Don't lose sight of this big picture trend line. The other times that we've tested this level, we saw the first time we tested this level, we saw 115% increase in the total market cap. Second time we saw an 83% increase in the total market cap. So we could easily see an 80 to 100% increase off of this trend line, testing this trend line. So as easy as it is to zoom into your altcoins that you're holding and to look at the candlesticks and to be zoomed in on like the 45 minute or whatever and be like, oh man, this is just going to fall off a cliff. All these bears are right. This is what you should be focused on, because it's extremely likely that we have some type of bullish reaction off of this trend line, bigger than what we saw right here, which is just, you know, a 16% increase off of this trend line. That's nothing. So a double bottom right here, very probable, very likely, a reaction off of this trend line, and for us to start to trend back up here. And that would really lead to continuation in the big picture. You guys have to understand, look at this. The last time that crypto broke above an old all-time high, look how high it went. Look how crazy high crypto went after it broke above its last all-time high. Now, if you look at currently, and we take our current level right here from our all-time high in 2021, we're barely above it. So I can't see this as being euphoria. There's nothing about this that says euphoria. Everybody's bearish, first of all, and everybody's bullish in euphoria. Second of all, nobody calls a top when it's an actual top in the market, and everybody's calling a top right now. Third of all, we're barely above our old all-time high. This bull market really just got going. This isn't like what happened last time, where we went all the way to the moon. You know, this is still got juice left. This thing is still getting ready, you know? Another fractal to show you guys too, to be aware of here. If we look at, let's pull up Bitcoin. I showed this in the last couple streams, but it really holds true for me. Pull up Bitcoin on the right. So to me, what's happening in the crypto markets isn't euphoria. What's happening in the crypto markets is way more similar to what happened before 2017 happened. So here's Bitcoin. This is basically the steady, sustainable growth that Bitcoin had before 2017 happened. So you can see Bitcoin is making higher highs and higher lows right here. Real steadily, you know, climbing. It's not super parabolic or vertical in any way. Just steadily climbing over time. And then 2017 happens. And when 2017 happens, look. Yeah, then Bitcoin goes completely to the moon and goes parabolic, right? The total crypto market cap has been behaving much more like pre-2017 than 2021 at the top, or even 2017 at the top. It looks way more like this than anything else. Steadily growing, corrections along the way up. You guys, it looks so similar to me. Look at this right here. It's just so hard for me to be bearish on this market. I can't take the position that crypto is going down. There's so many reasons to view this market as really getting ready for a big pump, like a 2017 like pump, a mass adoption kind of cycle for crypto. So take it or leave it, but that's what I see in the charts, you guys. Lots of potential for a lot of profit in the big picture. Loving the fact that we can buy crypto at dirt cheap prices, whether it's your altcoins that have been down for some of them for like 4 years, 3 years, or whether it's Bitcoin that's just down from its local peak that you can buy at like 80,000 per coin before it goes nuts, you know? There's opportunity here in this market, not reasons to be afraid, but opportunity. And that's the mindset that you should have. So that's my view on the crypto markets. Big things coming for altcoins, big things coming for Bitcoin. I really firmly believe that. Stay faithful, you guys. Stay focused on the big picture. If you need to, just don't look at your accounts. If you do look at your accounts, you better be buying instead of selling, right? One more time, I want to mention these cool Theta shirts. And I know you guys, there's a bunch of people thinking, oh, Theta's going to get sued, or Theta's getting sued. It's going to go to zero or whatever. It's just, you guys, it's so dumb. There's nothing to it. Don't worry about that FUD out there. I do have these cool theta t-shirts here. Um, all different sizes, large, all different sizes, large, XL, a bunch of different sizes. They are limited supply, but if you guys want a cool theta t-shirt, check in the description box below for a link to purchase a theta t-shirt or a really cool hat as well. I've got this really cool theta hat as well. So this theta hat is awesome. I've got more of these. They're just snap back so you can change the size. They're pretty cool. Yeah, I think it's awesome. I've been wearing my theta shirt like almost every day now. But yeah, theta's going to do big things too, you guys. Don't lose faith on theta. Anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning in to today's live stream. For some reason, I feel like I should play a song on the guitar real quick, so I'm going to do that, and then we'll call it a day. Don't know where I put my guitar pick. Cool. Let's see here. What's another one? Here's another little guitar piece. That one I didn't write that one. That's one of my personal favorite hymns. It's called "Nearer My God to Thee." But this is a little guitar bit that I wrote, and I've still got to figure out lyrics and stuff for it. All right, you guys, cool. We're an hour and 20 minutes in. I used to play guitar at the end of like every stream because everybody was always requesting it all the time. But I haven't been in the habit of doing it because there was a while where I was doing streams at my office kind of place that I was renting, and so I wasn't able to bring my guitar, so I had to tell people no a whole bunch of times. So I think everybody just kind of forgot that I do it, but it's always fun to do a little music stuff at the end of these streams too. What's cool is playing music and stuff is a really good way to stay level-headed in the markets, or listening to good calming music too, you know, can really help you. But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in again. I love every single one of you. I appreciate you. I look forward to seeing you guys in future videos, future live streams. Stay faithful and stay profitable out there. Catch you later, you guys.